Two-way rally. We'll flip this around real quick.
So my name is Darren Cox. I reside in Hillsdale County. I've been doing this rally thing for 5 years. I started in 2020 in Lansing. And to be honest with you, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just an average person who pays taxes and goes to work sometimes 6-7 days a week. But where do you start? Well, here's where I start. I'm going to continue to do this. Hopefully we can gain more people. I'd encourage people here in your own county to host a Second Amendment rally and bring more awareness to what's going on. So, like I said, my name is Darren Cox. I have a story that I feel this is my calling, to stand up for our rights, because my bloodline goes back to the Revolutionary War. And after doing some research, I found out my bloodline goes back to Edmund Cox, who fought in the Revolutionary War, and he joined Stone's militia right before the Revolutionary War, I believe in 1773. Well, I don't believe in coincidences, and I believe everything happens for a reason. Because here I sit today, 249 years later, I joined Stone's militia, and I am a member of the Hatari militia, who is located in Hillsdale County. So call it a coincidence, I call it destined by God. My brother here, Joe Adams, he also ties back to the Revolutionary War. His bloodline is Sam Adams and John Adams. And so we met in a very peculiar way, if that's the right word, is in 2020 I had enough courage to go to Lansing by myself, not knowing anything about anything, didn't even really know my rights. And I drive to Lansing by myself with my AR-15 and a few magazines, hoping not to get pulled over by the police, because I'm not a criminal. But when you get pulled over with certain attire, they tend to paint a picture that you're not. And so I was a little paranoid, a little scared, I'm not gonna lie. And here I am today, the kid that didn't stand up in high school to present his science project because he was afraid. I'm standing in front of my county, speaking my grievances, because I am pissed off too as an American. I'm labeled a white supremacist, a far-right extremist because I'm in a militia. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 16 talks about the militia and how these sheriffs who are constitutional, they should be using the militia, but they'd rather use the federal government. Because, you know, those guys, they got big checks and big money to fund their bullshit. And so, I really don't have much to say, even though I could sit here and talk for 2 weeks about variety of topics, between them poisoning our food and the shit that goes on behind closed doors, including at a local level. But we have more people. We have people here that are more priority than me. I'm just a peasant, like I said. I do have one thing wrote down, and I don't know where it's from. I found this on the interwebs. The place where you can go to find unlimited amounts of information, but yet we have the dumbest society now. So I'll just leave off with this. I don't know who else wants to speak, but if you do, it's an open mic. This is an open mic event. If you have grievances, what you want to talk about, I'm sure there's people here that can answer questions. I don't know what else to do, guys. I'm trying to do everything I can, is stand up for our rights. Try to bring awareness to our county, because essentially the bottom line is to destroy this country from within. Like I said, I could sit here and talk about sleeper cells. I think we all are awake of what's going on. Everybody here seems to be like-minded. I don't have to draw crayons and pictures and to get you, we're all on the same page. So I'll leave off with this. And this right here, I found this on the internet, and it's an unknown author. So if anybody knows where this came from, that'd be great. I'd like to know where it comes from, because this little bit of statement fits me to a T. And so it says, the most terrifying force of death comes from the hands of men who wanted to be left alone. They try so very hard to mind their own business and provide for themselves and those they love. They resist every impulse to fight back, knowing the force and permanent change of that life will come from it. They know that the moment they fight back, their lives as they live them are over. The moment the men who wanted to be left alone are forced to fight back, it is a form of suicide. They are literally killing off who they used to be, which is why when forced to take up violence, these men who wanted to be left alone fight with unholy vengeance against those who murdered their former lives. They fight with raw hate, a drive that cannot be fathomed by those who are merely play acting at politics and terror. True terror will arrive at these people's door, and they will cry, scream, and beg for mercy, but it'll fall upon deaf ears of men who just wanted to be left alone. And that's all I have to say today, brothers and sisters. I appreciate everybody coming out here. I love everybody. If anybody else has anything to add, come on up. Looks like we got Pastor B coming up. Brother, I've been around for 5 years. Like I said, I started in 2020 doing this. And there's a lot of familiar faces here that have stood side to side. And the people that stand next to you in the very hard times, those are the people you can trust. And I trust every man and woman here, regardless of your background, your political views, what you believe in. I love you as a brother and sister, and you got my fight when it comes. Let's not say that. Anyway, go. Pastor B.
I like that.
Good morning, or good afternoon. I'm Pastor B. I'm the pastor of the Armor of Light Ministry in the Armory Church in Pontiac, Michigan. It's no coincidence that the structure of our church is Army Battalion structure. Josiah Quincy, he was one of the spokespeople for the Boston Sons of Liberty, which was a paramilitary and community activist organization. He said, no free government was ever founded or preserved its liberty without uniting the characteristics of the citizen and the soldier in those destined for the defense of a free state. Such are a well-regulated militia composed of the freeholders, citizens, and husbandmen who take up arms to preserve their property as individuals and their rights as free men. I'm not sure if everyone has an idea of where our Second Amendment actually came from, at least the concept of it. The English Bill of Rights of 1689, they had just got rid of their king at the time. Their king was taking Catholics, he was Catholic, they were taking Catholics, creating Catholic armed mobs that would go around and kill Protestants that tried to defend themselves. So the idea with the English Bill of Rights is that they would allow Protestants to carry weapons. And the problem with that is, a little bit later was actually stated by an Englishman that people have the right to carry arms, and that's auxiliary to the right of natural right of resistance and self-preservation. But he also conceded that that right was subject to suitability and allowance by law. So how quickly rights erode when the government believes that the right is theirs to give. Just a few generations later, they tried the same thing against the American colonists. We know how that played out. What are the dangers of the government deciding who gets to defend themselves from tyranny and oppression? And now that concept is a word that even patriots don't even like to use. People that read the right once, and somehow they skipped over the part that says the militia. Is there any other word in our Bill of Rights that people aren't comfortable with saying anymore? What the hell happened? What does being the militia mean? Let's start with the values of a person who accepts the duties of citizenship. If you own a firearm, please raise your hand. Don't worry, this won't take long. And don't point your arm at a 45-degree angle because there's cameras here and you don't want to end up on a Google search for some bullshit. If you're unwilling to defend yourself or others, lower your hand. If you're unwilling to help oppose tyranny, wherever it may be, lower your hand. If you're unwilling to help stop an invasion of our country, lower your hand. If you're unwilling to learn how to improve your skills, lower your hand. If you're unwilling to help inspire others to learn the skills that you know, lower your hand. If you're unwilling to help encourage liberty for all and freedom from tyranny, lower your hand. If your hand is raised right now, you are the militia.
We're all militia.
Congratulations, brothers and sisters. Now I have your back and you can look around and see who has yours. Thank you very much and God bless this mess.
Sure. Woo! All right, brother, I got you.
Well, glad to see everybody here today. I wish the turnout would have been a little better. But as we all know, since 2020, the militia movement has been pretty much stagnant and put to rest. And that was by design. Because back before 2020, in 2015, when we got started, Michigan Liberty Militia, we was winning the popularity of the people. People were starting to turn around and see that the militia was not a bad thing, that the militia were the good guys, the last line of defense to our great nation, that we are not a bunch of crazy redneck people who live in the woods with a bunch of guns. Even though that may be the case for me, that's not the case for everybody I've ran into. I've worked with militias from across the entire country, honestly, from Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana. They've all come here to Michigan to help preserve our rights here in Michigan. I used to work with several groups of Michigan militia, the Genesee County Volunteer Militia, Michigan Home Guard, Southeast Volunteer Militia, the Oath Keepers. There used to be so much more activity, and I don't understand why that has stopped. Is it because of fear, or is it because of a lack of concern? Does everybody just feel lax now because we have a Republican president, we have a Republican Senate and the Congress that still are not going to pass any good gun control? They're going to keep everything the way it is. The only way we're going to keep our Second Amendment intact is by showing up to rallies like this, by organizing, by getting together, by exercising our First and Second Amendment rights. The only way we keep what we have, people, is by fighting for it. And by the lack of attendance today, I see that not many people truly care about the Second Amendment, and that pisses me off. Because the Second Amendment is the only amendment that backs up the rest of our amendments. Without the Second Amendment, we are merely slaves, nothing more. We shouldn't have to have permission slips to carry a sidearm in our vehicle. We shouldn't need a permission slip for anything. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It's 27 powerful words, and the meaning is self-explanatory. And yet the politicians seem to not understand that. They seem to want to misinterpret it and write it how they feel it should be to the rest of us. Now, to me, that's not freedom. Freedom is being able to do and choose what you want to do as long as you are not hurting anybody else. Just like to gather, to peacefully assemble like we all are doing here today. We're all gathered here peacefully. Now, I have seen protests that wasn't peaceful that still got to go on. Like with the BLM during the Summer of Love in 2020. We had to protect Lansing, Grand Rapids from looters and rioters. why the police stood down. The last line of defense, people, is the militia. That is cold hard facts. You can only count on who you trust and believe in. Don't count on politicians, the police, or any of that to be your savior, because there is no savior but yourself. The sooner we all realize that, the better off we'll be. Now, my name is Phil Robinson. I've never been bashful about giving out my name or speaking up about what I am passionate about. I am passionate about our Second Amendment because I understand the importance of our Second Amendment. The Second Amendment makes you a citizen, not a subject. I don't really know what else to say, just I wish there was more numbers because we need numbers. We need support. The militia, we need support of everyday people, whether you agree with us totally or not, because we dress in camel or we carry long guns. You know, that's not everybody's thing, but you know what? It should be, because one day you might have to count on people like me and Joe and Darren. You know, I hope that day may never come, but you know what? From what I'm seeing happening around the world, not just here in our own country, but we might be fighting foreign enemies here real soon, because our southern borders are still not locked down. We have no idea how many sleeper cells, terrorist organizations are in this country. We have no idea what people are looking to do to us in our own country, let alone our own government. We have a lot to worry about, people, a lot. And that's why I believe the militia is just as important today as it was back in 1775 when this great country was first fought for and won. You know, it was average day citizens, ordinary people who took up arms against the largest standing army in the world at the time. And we kicked the British's ass because we were on the side of the right. And if you believe that you are on the side of the right, then you are. And it's not the left side or right side. I'm not talking about a Democrat or Republican, because I'm neither. I'm a free man by choice. So no man is going to give me my rights. No man is going to dictate to me about my rights. I am in sole control of that. And so are all of you.
Woo!
Up there.
Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, brother, you know it, man. Anytime, because you came, like you said, you came to Lansing by yourself to meet up with me and my guys, and I had nothing but respect for you ever since then, Darren.
Yep.
Because it took balls, man.
Say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
When you showed up by yourself,
Yep.
that showed courage. That showed commitment. Commitment is key, people. Commitment is key.
And it is demoralizing because, like I said, when I started in Lansing in 2020, I thought I was part of an active movement that was going to continue to grow, and the further I've been a part of this, what the fuck? That's probably the least word I could say, but the only answer I have to why people are afraid to exercise their rights, let alone stand up for them. I open carry quite often. I don't have a permission slip from the government to conceal, but Michigan is open carry, and I do open carry when I go to Walmart to protect my family. And I was just telling, I believe Anthony here, that or somebody, that I don't just carry my pistol for my protection. I carry it for the community's protection.
Absolutely.
The statistically proven, the person that gets taken advantage of the most are single mothers who are in the store grocery shopping with a few kids.
Right.
So when I'm in the store and I see a single mother, my eyes are more focused on them than they are my kids, because I understand there's predators out here that can seek, and the stories with them putting certain perfumes around or something, they make people faint and shit. I wish a motherfucker would.
Hey, and don't forget, Epstein did kill himself, and there is a client list.
Yeah, and Epstein didn't kill himself, and there is a client list.
Guaranteed, people, we're being fooled.
I'm more concerned about, and just to give you some background on me, I wasn't in the political thing. I don't care. Politics is not me. Politics came to me. I didn't go to politics.
Right.
And here I am today, speaking up, exercising our rights, because the people that don't do it, you're going to have, well, so here, 2020, I showed up in Lansing. Never even been to Lansing again, because I don't do politics. I'm not going to drive to the Capitol to see the shiny windows. I don't care. I show up at Lansing in 2020, and I'm like, wow, you know, there's a couple few hundred people here. Awesome. I'm by myself. I only know Crazy Heathen, Phil Robinson. And so at this particular day, I think it was a weekday, and this is why we host them on the weekends, because of excuses of, oh, I got to work, or I got to do this during the week, or I can't really do that. I'm tired of it. This is why we do it on the weekend. So, but hey, bread and circus is more important because that's what they've implemented to destroy Rome, and America's not any different. So anyway, so
Absolutely.
in 2020, I was there. I look up in the building, right? I'm just admiring the locations. Like I said, I've never been there. I look up to the Capitol and I see 2, 3, 4 people standing in the window per window, and there's probably 50, 70 windows, and they're looking at what we're doing. And these are all your politicians that we vote for, right? I've seen a few of them laughing, pointing, laughing. Why? Because there was only a few hundred of us. And they know they see those numbers, we'll pass these red flag laws. Why? Because nobody's going to stand up.
Absolutely.
And that's what we have today. So there's certain people out here in this county, in this state, and in this country. We have certain lines in the sand, and although we will never cross those lines, like I addressed in the last statement I said, of people just want to be left alone. When my certain lines crossed, well, then that's when certain trees get watered. And I hope I can go to my grave without ever having to defend myself or another person or shoot anybody. I didn't buy this for that. Obviously, we have well-regulated men here with long guns, and there's no mass shootings. Imagine that. Because this ain't a gun-free zone. Because gun-free zones don't work. And the more people that are armed in your schools and in these places that create gun-free zones, the mass shootings would stop. Everybody's armed. Yeah, you might get a crazy lunatic person that's perked up on some kind of drugs that is out there, and they might go try to do something, but when they do that, there's going to be other people there to engage the threat and take it out. But because they've created these victim areas, this is what we're dealt with. This is the Gillian dialect, where they create a problem and then they come in with a solution. And the solution time, 9 times out of 10, is worse than the problem they created.
Absolutely.
Well, because these politicians want to play mere acting at true terror, they'll see true terror when it comes. And like I said, I hope it doesn't happen. I'm not here advocating for any violence. I'm not here advocating for anything. Listen, my brother John Rupan, who's just up here, is getting ready to speak. He hosts a class at the Okay, all right, never mind. Sorry, I got Joe in my ear. My brother John Rupan here, he has a building right around the corner on this main road. It's called the Liberty Hall. And he hosts every Tuesday night, for the longest I've remembered, he hosts constitutional classes, Bill of Rights and Declaration of Independence and the Magna Carta of 1215. He teaches that to our youth and to who anybody. It's free. It's free. You like free, right? Oh, we love free. It's a free class. But even though when you put the word free on it, you still get people to create, what's that word? Excuses. See, the more you know, the more power you gain. In this world that we live in, money's not power, knowledge is.
Knowledge
and
is
the more
power.
you know, like my brother here to my right in the yellow hat just got pulled over. You mind if I? Okay. I didn't want to put your business out on Front Street, but hey.
I'm an open book, man.
All right, he's an open book. That's what I like. My brother over here got pulled over by one of our sheriff's deputies right here across the street about a half hour ago. And I didn't realize he was with this group. Well, he got pulled over because he didn't have registered tags on his license plate, and he hasn't had them for 2 years. And he's got a mountain full of paperwork on his dash because he's going to court fighting them because we have the right to travel, and travel is free. Commerce is what you need a license for. If you're Ubering, if you're driving a school bus, if you're working for the city, if you're me, who has an active CDL, you have to have a license. But to drive freely, it is your right to travel. And see, the more people that know their rights, you get more people like this who stand up against a brother over here. I'm not going to advocate that all police are bad, because what I've learned from my brother John is we have to have laws in this country, because without laws, it's anarchy. And without certain laws that are put on the books, you can have anybody out here willy-nilly do what they want, and that's not what freedom is. You have to have checks and balances.
Accountability.
And unfortunately, we don't have that in certain areas. I mean, us peasants, yeah, we're held accountable. I'm probably going to be held accountable for the shit I say today. But that's fine. I wear my heart on my sleeve. My truck's over here. I got Second Amendment plastered all over this. Everybody knows who I am in this county.
When you're proud of what you do, it doesn't
I'm passionate,
matter.
which is another word John has educated me about, is my age makes me passionate, versus older gentlemen are more conservative, and I'm very passionate about what I believe in, okay? I'm not afraid. I want what's best for our country, our brothers and sisters, and we just need more people to stand up. So, with that being said, like I said, I could talk.
That's why
for
we're
2
here.
weeks, and I haven't even touched on half of the topics I'd like to talk about. But I'm not sure. I'm not the important one. I just put this event on so we could get Anthony Hudson out here to promote his message. John DeSanta as well, get him promote his message. There's people here, just like-minded people. This event, this movement's not stopping. Okay, I do this every year. This is the second year on this turf that this has happened. I've been all over the country, well, not country, the state, for our Second Amendment. Berry County, Lansing, Ionia, providing Kyle Rittenhouse security, and the McClowskis. We all know what happened with them in 2020. So my face is going to be familiar. So if you see me on national news, awesome. I want my 30 seconds of fame.
All you got to do is know the crazy heathen.
Yeah, so anyway, with that being said, we'll let Jim speak for a little bit, and then whoever's next up, podium. Thank you.
Hell yeah, brother. Oh yeah, Darren.
Thank you. Let me first start off by saying thank you to Darren and to Joe for organizing this. Never give up, never be discouraged. Some of these things I might say will certainly sound like preaching to the choir, but I'm looking at people that I know feel deeply about this issue. I'm State Representative Jim DeSanta. I'm from Carlton, Michigan. I have introduced the repeal of red flag in the state legislature, and my patience is
awesome.
very thin for why 58 Republicans cannot repeal red flag unconstitutional laws. If I voted yes for red flag, I violated my oath to the Constitution. And I told my leader I cannot vote for that, and I have to vote to repeal it. But let me say this, and I'm going to talk about a few different things, and I'm sure you're going to agree with me. First of all, we are all renters from the government. Until we eliminate property taxes
have
we
to
will
go.
never own our private property. Private property is a right, and your right to own it free and clear is an American concept. I think it's a human concept, honestly. So it gets deep in the weeds when you start talking about that. We can do this. We spend $24 billion in Michigan for education, if you want to call it that. If people want to call it education, I'd call it more like brainwashing.
Yep.
So 24 billion, keep that number in mind, 24 billion. And somebody tells me we cannot eliminate 20 billion in property taxes. We spend $4.5 billion for colleges.
Right.
Woke colleges, many of them gun-free zones, right? So until we have to attack this problem on a broad basis. So when I talk about our freedoms, I talk about our right to own property. The right to defend yourself is in the Catechism of the Catholic Church. And you can go read it. I'm not going to read it to you today. But your right to take somebody else's life to defend your own life is rooted in the church. And I will tell you, that's right. And there's nothing more important to me, and I want to tell you this today. There is nothing more important to me than my faith in God. I'm not going to be here forever. I won't be staying here. But as long as I'm here, I'm going to stand up for what's right. I have 8 children. I have 17 grandchildren under 12 years old. And the way my father raised me and the way I've raised my children are much the way that you would want to raise your children. At the end of the day, it's an individual choice. But these rights come to us from God. That can't be debated. It's not debatable. We're not staying here. That's the proof of it, right? So when somebody tells me that they want to take away my right to self-defense, that's evil to me. That's somebody coming at me not from God, and I don't care if they think they're a godly person. If you're going to take away my right to self-defense, and I will defend your right to self-defense to my death, because that's what this country was founded upon. I don't think that our Constitution is unclear. I think it's crystal clear. And I will tell you today, and you can ponder this for the rest of the day, because you'll probably say, what did Jim DeSena mean by constitutional limits? But I believe our government should be brought back to its constitutional limits.
Where we the people hold the power.
I don't think I should have to pay to educate somebody else's child. If you have a child, you educate them. Now, if we decide that it is a societal good to help educate children, the church can do it. Private individuals can do it. We could even collect an offering and say, we're going to have a school down the road that's going to teach children right from wrong and knowledge. What we have now is an abomination. It's terrible. The things we're doing in our schools, and I'm sure I don't have to talk to all of you about this at any great depth, but we are raising a whole generation that will have a very limited ability to survive in a very brutal world. And my reason for being here today and my reason for saying that I want to defend this is rooted in love. Love for my fellow human being, that you would live your life in freedom and be able to defend yourself just like I can, and be able to live your life to the fullest with the true knowledge. And I run into people all the time, they look at me like I'm an alien. And so, even though you may feel your numbers are small, every person you talk to, every member of your family, don't back down. You don't have to back down. You've got the truth. You may change, if you change one person's mind, it's worth it. If you change one person's mind about their right to walk down this street freely, and if their life is threatened, to be able to defend themselves. I've introduced a law that also says that if you defend yourself in self-defense, a perpetrator cannot come after you civilly to sue you after you having defended yourself. Whether it's an injury, if you injure them, kill them, whatever you have to do. Obviously, it's the last thing we want to do. We would say, listen, you better leave now. I'm giving you one warning. Sometimes they don't need a warning. You know they're coming at you. It's evil. Evil right at you. So you can count on me. We have 58 members in the House. And what I would ask you today, ask your member why they will not bring red flag repeal to a vote. We have 58 Republican members. Ask them point blank, why won't you repeal red flag? I'd even go a step further, why won't you repeal safe storage? It's not safe. Safe storage is not safe. I'll say that here today. You all know what this issue. There was a story about a woman who was attacked in her house. She was able to fend off the attacker by getting to her gun, which was not locked, and it was loaded, and it was in a credenza drawer. Once she got a hold of her gun, the attack was over. The perpetrator fled. The government should never be able to tell you how you store your gun, how many guns you own, how much ammo you have. As a matter of fact, I'd go one step further. They should not be able to tax your ammo and your guns.
In all reality, they should supply us, the militia.
Right.
So I just again want to thank you all for coming today. We've had events at the Capitol. My office is open to any of you anytime. Anytime you want to stop into my office. We are a pro Second Amendment office through and through. And we have effectively stopped the bad legislation that the Senate passed.
What office?
The House Office Building, 723 is my office number, 793. We have effectively stopped the ghost gun ban, the bump stock ban, the suppressor ban. Those bills are going nowhere, thankfully. So I am thankful that my leadership is standing up and not bringing these bills into the House. But we need to go one step further. And, you know, they'll tell you that it's just like Darren was saying, they'll tell you that this is futile. It means nothing. We can pass it and the Senate won't take it up. It'll die in the Senate, right? So why should we do it? We should do it because it's the right thing to do. We have enough people that believe that red flag is unconstitutional, illegal, it should be repealed. What the Senate does is on them, on their conscience. If somebody is killed, not being able to defend themselves because they had their guns seized by the government, and you can go all Google the articles in Michigan, all the red flag confiscations. A 5-year-old says something screwy to their teacher. How many 5-year-olds have everything come out of their mouth right? And that family lost every gun. Every gun was taken from that family for their 5-year-old. It was never meant. We had civil commitment laws. We already had them on the books. If somebody says red flag saves lives, tell them they're full of you know what.
Absolutely.
Red flags cost people their lives, and civil commitment, I may not agree with everything in our civil commitment law, but we already had all the tools available. If somebody thought somebody had just, maybe they're taking mind-altering drugs, and we're worried about them, you could take that family member and have the civil commitment law protect other people. There's no reason for a red flag law. Not only is there not a reason, there's a reason not to have it because our Constitution prohibits it. They do not have the right to take your gun without due process. And that's what red flag is. You all know it. We're going to try to get that vote. Talk to your reps. Call the rep in the district next to you or the district 2 districts over and say, they're trying to get a vote on red flag repeal. Why are you not pushing for it too? Sarah Leitner from Jackson is the committee chairman for the Judiciary Committee. She has the bills. She won't bring them up for a hearing. I hope someday they'll be brought up for a hearing and I'll see all of you in the hearing room and on the Capitol grounds, and then we'll really show what kind of numbers we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else?
Oh, he's coming.
All right. Hey,
Hey,
how
how's
you
it
doing,
going?
man? Long time no see.
I this representative right here, Jim, he's one of the true, real representatives that we have. We don't have many. We need to support him. No, I'm not. I happen to be the state director for the Constitutional Sheriff's Peace Officers Association. But one thing I did want to read that this representative brought up is Michigan Compiled Law 750.234D. I'm reading from the Michigan State Police Update. It says, MCL 750.234D provides that it is a 90-day misdemeanor to possess a firearm on the premise of any of the following: a depository financial institution, a bank or credit union, a church or other place of religious worship, a court, a theater, a sports arena, a daycare center, a hospital, an establishment licensed under the Liquor Control Code. The above section does not apply to any of the following: the owner or a person hired as security if the firearm is possessed for the purpose of providing security. 2, a peace officer. 3, a person with a valid concealed pistol license issued by any state. So know that exception. I've been places where people go, oh, you can't do that. And these are people that are supposed to know the law, and they don't. So carry the law with you, know what it is, and teach them, because they need it. Now, one of the things that the representative brought up that I wanted Jim to hear is Michigan Compiled Law 28.425O. Provides that a person with a valid CPL shall not carry a concealed pistol in a pistol-free zone. First offense is a state civil infraction. The following is a list of the premises, excluding parking lots, included in the statute. School or school property, except a parent or legal guardian who is dropping off or picking up a child and the pistol is kept in the vehicle, public or private daycare center, sports arena or stadium, a bar or tavern where sale and consumption of liquor by the glass is the primary source of income. Any property or facility owned or operated by a church, synagogue, mosque, temple, or other place of worship, unless authorized by the presiding official. An entertainment facility that has a seating capacity of 2,500 or more. A hospital. A dormitory or classroom of a community college or university. Does everybody remember the Michigan State shootings that happened? Okay, this is where this law comes in. Michigan Compiled Law 28.425.0, because you have to read what is written below it. Note, the above statute applies to CPL holders carrying a concealed pistol. If the CPL holder is carrying a non-concealed pistol, the statute does not apply. As noted above, the unlawful premises listed in MCL 750.234D do not apply to persons with a valid CPL. Therefore, a person with a valid CPL may carry a non-concealed pistol in the areas described. Now, a lot of people go, that's powerful. Yeah, it is powerful knowing the law. But the thing is, you have to know the whole law. So some people walk into private property, like a private school or a private hospital, with a CPL and open carry. And they say, well, you can't carry in here. They say, yes, I can. The law's on my side, except for one thing. Private property rights trump that. Just like if you're in my property and I say, I don't allow the F word on my property, and you use the F word and I carry you handily to the road and dump you in the ditch, that's my right, because it's my property. So when you go into private property, that statute doesn't apply. Private property rights apply. So we have to understand what our rights are. We have to understand what the law is. The other thing, we have to understand the hierarchy of it. Rights are here. They're granted by God. Then there's statute. Then there's policy. Then there's procedure. I had a judge in this town state that she wanted to keep all guns out of the courthouse, and a sheriff that supported it 4,000%, because she said, well, I have an AO, an administrative order from the Michigan Supreme Court that says that I can do that. Well, I'm sorry, don't you think the judge should know the difference between a right, a law, and an administrative order? See, administrative order does not outrank the statute that that man puts into law, or rights that are granted by God. So understand, know the law, understand them, understand the founding of this country, understand those things. Because when you understand them, you have far more power. Now, this is the first of two speeches I'm going to give today. This one's called The Militia, the National Guard, and the Constitution. A comprehensive historical and legal analysis. The table of contents for it is we're going to cover it in 10 sections. The first section will be the introduction. Number 2 will be origins of the American militia system. 3 will be the militia in the Constitution. 4 will be legislative transition from militia to National Guard. 5 is constitutional analysis under Article 1, Section 10. 6 is the Posse Comitatus Act and military use in domestic affairs. Number 7, the role of sheriffs in the revival of local militias. 8, legal and practical arguments for county-based militias. And then 9 is the conclusion, and then 10, I will give you the reference of where all this information was drawn from so that you can do your own research. Introduction. The transformation of the American militia into what it is now known as the National Guard marks a significant evolution in U.S. military structure and federal-state relations. This speech examines the legal and constitutional implications of this transformation, especially in relation to Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution. Further, it considers the applicability of the Posse Comitatus Act and the unique role of elected county sheriffs in promoting constitutionally compliant, citizen-based militias. Origins of the American militia system. Militias in colonial America were community-based groups comprised of able-bodied males required to respond to threats and maintain order. The earliest example, the Massachusetts militia, was organized in 1636. So we've had a tradition in this company since 1636. The Founding Fathers institutionalized this concept, fearing a standing army as a threat to liberty. George Mason argued in the Virginia Ratifying Convention in 1788, quote, "What is the militia? It is the whole people except for a few public officials," end quote.
Yes.
The militia in the Constitution. The Constitution references the militia in Article 1, Section 8. Clause 15, Congress shall have power to provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrection, and repel invasion. So for only 3 reasons. There's only
Three
three
causes
reasons.
of the militia.
That's right. There's only 3 reasons the militia can be called forward. Clause 16, Congress is to provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, but states retain the right to appoint officers and train them. So, again, back to local control. Article 2, Section 2 names the President as Commander-in-Chief of the militia. Here's the important part: when called into federal service. Legislative transition from militia to National Guard. The Militia Act of 1792 required all able-bodied white males ages 18 to 45 to enroll in the militia and bring their own arms. The Militia Act of 1903, the Dick Act, created the modern National Guard as the, quote, organized militia. Now this is some history you need to study, because this is where the militia was split between the organized militia and the unorganized militia. But a militia nonetheless.
Unorganized don't answer to nobody except ourselves.
Establishing a dual state federal structure. The National Defense Act of 1916 required guardsmen to swear dual allegiance to state and federal government and granted federal funding and control over training and equipment. So 1916 is where they took the lure of the money and held it before the state to get the state to do away with the militia and actually create the National Guard. Title 10 and Title 32 of the U.S. Code. This is also important. Has everybody been watching the news of what's going on in Los Angeles? Okay. Be careful. Hold on to your seats, because they're going to teach you how to think for yourself, and it might not be what you think. Distinguish between federal Title 10 and state Title 32 status of Guard units. These changes effectively ended the original concept of militia as locally controlled and spontaneously mobilized civilian forces. Constitutional analysis under Article 1, Section 10. Article 1, Section 10 states, quote, "No state shall, without the consent of Congress, keep troops or ships of war in time of peace." The National Guard is a state-controlled and federally funded military organization with permanent structure arguably constitutes a standing army. If they want to argue that the National Guard belongs to the state, then it violates the Constitution because it's a state holding a standing army.
Yep.
Right? Okay, this is the reason for the Dick Act and some of the other acts that were passed in 1933. The dual enlistment oath and regular training cycles further distinguish the Guard from the ad hoc citizen soldier model envisioned by our founders. This shift raises questions about constitutional fidelity and centralization of military power. The Posse Comitatus Act and military use in domestic affairs. Posse Comitatus Act of 1878 limits the use of federal military forces in domestic law enforcement. So what did we just establish? If the National Guard is called out under Title 10, they're federal. If they're called out under Title 32, they're state. So if they're called out under Title 10, they cannot do law enforcement function. The only thing they can do is protect federal property and federal officers because they're under Title 10. If they're called out under Title 32, then they have the authority by whom? A sheriff to enforce law. While the Act applies to the Army and Air Force, extensions to the Navy and Marine Corps have been adopted by policy. National Guard under state control, Title 32, is exempt. Once federalized under Title 10, it becomes subject to Posse Comitatus restrictions. So it's very important to know, is the National Guard called out under Title 10, or is it called out under Title 32? The role of the sheriffs and the revival of local militias. The sheriff, as the highest elected law enforcement officer in the county, retains traditional common law authority to call upon citizens to form a posse. Does anybody know what the oldest elected official is that predates the United States Constitution and even predates the United States and the colonies?
That I do not enlighten.
It's the sheriff. In fact, the sheriff's ancient power comes from the Magna Carta 1215, subsection 61, in which prior to that time, he was an agent of the state that worked for the state. Upon the enactment of the Magna Carta 1215, subsection 61, he was a person with state authority that worked against the state and for the people. That's the ancient tradition of the sheriff. National Guard under state control, Title 32 is exempt. I already read that. The role of sheriff. This power is derived from English common law and continued under American legal tradition. See Ex parte Seabold 100 U.S. 371 from 1879. The Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, CFPOA, advocates for local militia revival under sheriff authority as a check against federal overreach. Right now, the only constitutional sheriff you have in the state of Michigan is Sheriff Darley.
My
from Barron
sheriff,
County.
Barron County.
What's his name?
Darley.
Spell it.
D-A-R.
Darleaf.
All right, I'm gonna
He happens to be on the CSPOA National Committee. He gets it. He understands it. He knows it. And he lives it.
And he stands up for the militias.
8. Legal and practical arguments for county-based militias. Constitutional basis. 10th Amendment and Article 1, Section 8 reserves power not delegated to the federal government to the states. Historical precedent. Militias have traditionally been local and community-based. See, it's just like, why do we have the right to keep and bear arms? Because when seconds count, the police are only minutes away. So local communities have the same ability. When there's dire need, the military is only days away. When do you need them? You need them now. That's why it's local controlled militias. It was a tradition in our country since all the way back to the 1600s. Accountability. Sheriffs are directly accountable to the people through elections, unlike federal military commanders. Civil liberties. Local militias offer a decentralized means of defense and law enforcement without violating the Posse Comitatus. Practical formation requires state legislation or local resolutions to formalize training, command, structure, and legal oversight. And I'll get into that in my next speech. In conclusion, the National Guard's transformation from citizen militia to a federally integrated military force contravenes the original militia concept and arguably conflicts with constitutional constraints on state militaries. In light of the Posse Comitatus Act and concerns over federal militarization of domestic affairs, sheriffs may hold both the historical precedent and constitutional authority to promote local militias. These efforts, grounded in law and civic tradition, may restore a vital check on centralized power and reassert the principles of self-governance and local control. Now, my references. This is where the references come from. So check me and see if I'm wrong. The U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Sections 8 and 10, Article 2, Section 2. The Militia Act of 1792. The Militia Act of 1903, the Dick Act. The National Defense Act of 1916. Title 10 and Title 32 of the U.S. Code. The Posse Comitatus Act, 18 U.S.C., subsection 1385. Ex parte Cybold 100 U.S. 371 on page 371 in 1879. Constitution annotated in the Library of Congress. Brennan Center for Justice, the Posse Comitatus Act explained. National Guard Bureau History Office and the Congressional Research Service reports on National Guard and military law. Now, militias, and I agree, militias are everybody except for a few elected officials. The militia are the people. However, my next speech is going to cover whether it's rebellion or righteous resistance. Because with a militia comes a moral obligation. There is insurrection that the militia is supposed to put down. So there is a moral aspect to the militia, and I will cover that in my next speech.
Great job, man. Great job. Thank you.
Are you live still? You want me to record you?
Yeah, you can. She's recording. Oh, is she? Yeah, you can do that. It's almost dead. You gotta turn it on. There ain't no password. It's a B-roll phone.
Finger?
Huh? It's on the side. This is on. Hello?
Put out your
Hello?
TikTok handle.
What's that?
Give out your TikTok handle.
WTPN .news is my website. WTPN is the YouTube and TikTok, and Flint After Dark is the Facebook. Now check me out. I know a lot. I know a decent amount. I don't claim to know everything as in depth as some of these gentlemen. But one thing I know, and I want everyone to understand, is my favorite 6'2". That's how tall I wish I was, but it's called Article 6, Clause 2 of the United States Constitution. It is the supremacy clause. And let me put it in English for you. Any law made repugnant to my United States Constitution, repugnant means take away from. So again, any law made repugnant to my United States Constitution renders itself null and void on its face, no duty to enforce, no duty to obey. A CPL, repugnant. You get it? All of that shit, repugnant. Suppressors, full autos, repugnant. Everything repugnant. Right, license. You can't take my right and convert it into a privilege and try to regulate it with license and or fees. That's unconstitutional. Marbury versus Madison, Article 6, Clause 2, the backup of that. I mean, how much time you guys got? Let's get real. We need to get Anthony up here, though, because as you can tell, my Second Amendment views are pretty simple. They got nukes, we got nukes. Bigger nukes, better nukes, and more nukes, and ready to roll nukes. And Anthony agreed with me. The people should own the same thing as the government. How are we going to fight a foreign and domestic? You know, domestic means our own shit, our own people. You get what I mean? So how are we going to fight that if they got bigger, better arms than us? We can't.
I would also like to get into real quick James Madison, the author, the founder of the Second Amendment. He did not want our own government to know where any of our militias were. His reasoning was, if our own government didn't know where they were, how is a foreign invading military ever going to gain intel? They will not be able to. Also, when tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. How are we going to go after domestic terrorism if they know right where we're at and how to get us? So that's basically all I had to add. And Anthony Hudson has got more than my vote. He's got me campaigning for him. He's got me doing everything I can do. It's on like Donkey Kong. That's the man we need in office. I was asking the universe for someone similar to myself. And to be honest with you, I didn't think I was going to get it. And then he comes to a Flint rally where we're going against the sheriff and everybody else. That's just what I do. I'm in everybody's face. And I meet old Anthony there. And oh my God, it was like stepbrothers, you know, once we started talking. Did we just become best friends? Yep, that quick, you know? So now I'm out here driving 2 hours away to campaign for this dude. Who supports the militias? Do we have anybody running for anything in office anywhere that supports the militias besides Anthony? Anywhere?
Probably not.
Probably not. And I'm over it. And if we don't stand behind people like Mr. Hudson, everybody turn your cameras to Mr. Hudson right now. If we don't stand behind people like Mr. Hudson, you just need to go home and look your kids in the face and your grandkids in the face and say, you're a slave because I'm a sissy. Period, point blank.
Right on,
end of
brother.
story. Who's next?
Right on, brother.
Oh, I got you. There's the man. Right on.
All right.
That's awesome.
We need a new governor in
How do you
Michigan.
follow all these guys today with everything that they've been saying?
My name is Anthony Hudson. My friends call me Tony. Some of you already know this, but Tony backwards, why not? We need change in Lansing.
Bad.
And it was nice to hear Mr. DeSena come up and talk about eliminating property taxes. The biggest thing on my platform is once and for all getting rid of our property taxes so you can have what we call true ownership of your property. No more governmental collateralization of your land where they can tell you what to do on your property. Getting rid of property taxes also promotes generational wealth. Two words that have been dying in our state for a long time. I see farmers losing their land to solar farms. I see people in Detroit being victims of eminent domain so their homes can be torn down and replaced with solar panels. I see young people not buying their first home until they're in their 30s. Hell, they don't even move out of our homes until they're 25 or 26. That's a problem. Michigan is too expensive. The one thing we can do is we can fight to eliminate property taxes, and with Mr. DeSena talking about that as well, it's nice to know that we have an ally that's already there that would support the effort to promote your home ownership free and clear of the state's corruption. Another thing I want to get rid of here in the state of Michigan is our state income tax. We do not deserve to pay the state for our right to go to work. That's how we take care of our families. Look at Florida. Look at the other states that don't have an income tax. They're doing pretty damn well, if I may say. We have this beautiful thing in Michigan called no-fault auto insurance. Any of you guys fans?
Nope.
No. Michigan used to be an at-fault insurance policy state. It's 41% less expensive, and it has more benefits as far as promoting responsibility out here on the roads. People will slow down when they can get a ticket and have to be responsible for the accident and the medical coverage that comes with it. Auto registrations in the state of Michigan. Did you realize Michigan used to pay one time for your registration? And now government found a way to get more money out of you by saying, you got to do this every single year. On your birthday, happy birthday, give me $300. Bumbling Benson says, hey, we're going to jack that up $100 so you can pay us more. And on top of that, we're going to make you pay for park passes on your registration when not everybody in the state enjoys the parks here in the state of Michigan. What happened to freedom of choice? Did we forget about that? Did we just allow government to strap us down and say, you no longer have a choice for yourself? I'm a truck driver. I'm not a politician.
All these men that are sitting here with their firearms, their long barrels, their uniforms, they sit here and they say, we need to stand up. Well, by God, I stood up.
And we
And I
appreciate
decided to run
that.
for governor because I feel like I can make a difference for this state with the support of our state reps, our senators, our congressmen. But we have to fight like hell to make smart people in Lansing understand common sense. Common sense. Why are we taxing the people so much in the state of Michigan so that we struggle to have poor leadership in Lansing from people who work below us? Why do they get to work 55 days a year and get a full salary? It's funny I bring that up because Michigan only gets 55 clear sunny days a year and we have solar panels. They only work efficiently 100% about 55 days a year, which is about as much as our legislators worked last year. And they got a full salary. How many of you have ever worked 55 days and got paid for the entire year?
Never.
None of us. We need to take back control of our state. We outnumber them 1,000 to 1. And when we realize that and we come together as a society, we can take back the control of the state of Michigan. It starts with the elimination of property taxes. Do you know that we would be the first state in the country to eliminate property taxes, therefore making us a leader? We would revolutionize the country by telling every other state how we did it so that they can do the same thing. Getting rid of property taxes tells the rest of the country that Michigan is open for business. Bring your business to Michigan. That nasty property tax bill you pay in California or Texas or Florida now becomes a profit to your bottom line in Michigan. You bring the jobs back, you bring the people back. Michigan is losing more people daily than we have coming into the state. And that's because we can't stand Witless Whitmer. She's got to go.
Not at all.
You want to find out where the problems in Michigan are? Look at that office. Anybody else thought about what's going on? Whitmer's being sued by Nessel over a $20 million grant. Nessel's being sued by Kevin Kajulski over her crap, and Jocelyn Benson is being sued by Patrick Kobach, for her election fraud, integrity, or whatever. All three of the three-headed monsters are being sued. Is that the representation of the people that we need?
Absolutely not.
So let's get somebody in there that'll roll up the sleeves with a belt buckle, a pair of boots, and normally a cowboy hat, and hold them accountable for their wrongdoings, because there is no two-tier justice system in Michigan. Elected officials follow the same laws we do. The only difference is they get away with it.
Yep.
We need transparency, accountability, and consequences. I like to call it RAC, R-A-C, responsibility, accountability, and consequences. We need to get someone in Lansing that's not there to make friends. You're there to do a job. You're not there to lead the state. You're there to serve the state. On to the topic at hand, the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution. We're all here because we support the right to bear arms in our country. And if you read the Second Amendment, you will not see any subtitles, Subtitle A, Subtitle B, Subtitle C, that say, except these infringements are acceptable. It doesn't exist. All you have to have the right or the ability to bear arms in the United States is to be an American citizen.
Boom.
That's what you need. Case in point, Indianapolis, Indiana, 3 years ago. We had an active shooter in a mall, killed 6 people. It was a bystander with a pistol that took out the target and saved the lives of hundreds of people in the mall. Why is everybody in Texas so happy?
Because they carry.
Because everybody got a gun.
An armed society is a polite society.
It's time to maybe not be so polite. Maybe it's time to have actual direction for our state and for our country. So one of these gentlemen were talking about the woman whose attacker came into the home and she had the weapon loaded in I think it was Jim, in a nightstand, and when she got a hold of that, the attacker left. Under these red flag laws that we have here in Michigan, It's almost like you got to stand up and say, hold on, time out. You got a gun, I got one in the basement. And then I got to go to the garage to get my bullets. And then when I come back in here, we'll resume and we'll figure out who's going to win. That's not the way it's supposed to work. Whatever you got, I got. You stand outside my house with a bunch of semi-automatic weapons, by God, I'm going to have them myself. Stop telling me how to secure my weapons. You don't tell me how to park my car in my garage. But they do tell you when to do laundry. They tell you this is peak hours from 5 to 7. We're going to charge you more money to do your laundry, run your appliances. That's not freedom. And if everybody moves to 7 to 9 to do their laundry and cook and run their appliances, guess what? Peak hours are going to move to 7 to 9, and we're all going to move back to 5 to 7. It's a game of chicken. Freedom. By definition, freedom is the ability to think, act, and say as you wish without the feeling of enslavement. Our government enslaves us every single day with fear-mongering tactics and financial strangulation called overtaxation.
And the weaponization of all federal government.
We have no representation in this state as far as I'm concerned. You look at the 35th District over in Bay City, Saginaw, parts of Midland. Congresswoman Kristen McDonald-Rivet won that 8th congressional seat last year, and they have not had representation since. I've actually put it out on social media that every single one of you in that district should stop paying your taxes right now, because it is against the law to have taxation without representation. Knowledge is key. One of the other gentlemen said that today also. If we start taking away our God-given rights, we're no different than China, Russia, North Korea, and we are the land of the free. So why does it cost so much to live here? The state of Michigan has a lot of work, people. We have a lot to do to right the ship and fix what's broken. You'll see my hats, they say Fix Michigan. That's our slogan. Why not? Can't be worse than Witless Whitmer. Can't be worse than Joe Biden. And I'm glad somebody brought up the southern border. Southern border may not be an issue right now, but the northern border sure as hell is.
Our southern border is
Canada's
still not
allowing the
closed.
Venezuelans to come through Canada, which come into our country through the northern border.
And the military is infiltrated by the CCP.
When are we going to put a stop to the insanity? Telling our kids that they can swap genders. Telling our kids it's okay to love the same sex. That's not what we teach in schools. That's between a father and a son, or a mother and a son, father and daughter, mother and daughter.
They're trying to kill the
The
family.
LGBTQ. I don't know about you, but to me it still stands for let's get Biden to quit. And we won that race. We won that one. My kids, my choice. The Constitution's 14th Amendment said the court shall not interfere with parents' right to parent children unless a parent has been deemed unfit. Stop telling my children that they can change their gender. And furthermore, stop taking your tax dollars, submitting them to DHHS to pay for those transgender surgery here in the state of Michigan. Last year we spent $3.1 billion on illegal aliens. Yet we still have veterans that are homeless on the street. We have people that can't get medical care in the state of Michigan. It's too expensive. Child care is as much as a mortgage. These are things that have to be rewritten. And when it comes to what DeSena was talking about with the red flag laws, he will have someone in the governor's office that will start the conversation to repeal every red flag law in the state of Michigan and give us back our constitutional right. Get rid of it. We are a constitutional carry state, and that's afforded to us by God and written in our Constitution.
Stand your ground, state, castle doctrine too.
What's that?
Stand your ground, state, and castle doctrine.
Oh, I'm going to stand my ground until somebody knocks me off of it. That's the way we handle things in Texas.
That's how every
So
man should
I'll
act.
leave you with this. Very short, very simple today. First of all, thank you guys for coming out, showing support for this event. We need more people here. Grassroots. Drop a rock in the water and watch the ripples spread out. That's your job. Spread the message. Talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, talk to your community, and let them understand how important this issue is for the future of our state and our nation.
give me my Bible and give me my gun, and I will be free. I'm Anthony Hudson for governor.
Hey, where can
Why
they
not?
find you? Where can they find you?
You can
Website.
find me on Facebook at Anthony Hudson for governor. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and X under Hudson for governor. Last month, in the month of June, we had 12 million hits on Facebook alone because people like the fact that a truck driver, one of their own, decided to stand up and take on the tyranny between the establishment Republican Party and the delusional Democrat Party.
I mean, the rhinos.
I'm here for you, and I don't care what side of the aisle you on. We all have one thing in common, and that's the color red. We all bleed red. We were Americans at birth, and we will always be Americans. Don't let politics divide you, because then they win. It's our job to stand strong, protect our future, protect our children, and always move forward. In my mind, that's progress, and Michigan needs progress. Thank you, guys.
Right on.
Brother, yes, thank you.
Hey, man.
Awesome.
Great job, brother. Great
Nervous,
job.
I'm sweating.
I think we got a few more people that want to speak. And other than that, it's looking like it's going to rain in about an hour. We're trying to beat the weather, so like I said, this is an open mic event. If anybody wants to come up and speak their grievances, you're more than welcome. But right now we got Eddie. He's going to take stage.
Oh, Eddie.
Hello, my name is Eddie Kabasinski. I am a former city councilman in the city of Warren. I'm sorry. Is this better? Okay. Hello, my name is Eddie Kabasinski. I am a former city councilman in the city of Warren, Michigan, one of your most libtard cities in the state of Michigan, probably next to Lansing. About 2 years ago, I was confronted with our Second Amendment rights being lost here in the state of Michigan. I went from my home to my place of business, and I was stopped by the Warren police while I was running as a constitutional sheriff in Macomb County. And City of Warren Police Department, at the direction of the mayor, went after me, and they confiscated my firearms from me in protection of my business, from my home to my place of business. I was a person that worked on the city council, but also had a regular job in which I had my own business, because the purpose of me being on council was not to accept the taxpayer dollars, but to put it back into the district, and that's exactly what I did. I didn't take 1 cent while I was on the council. It went back right back into the 5th district, and my campaign financing statements say so. So what I wanted to go over is, this has been dragging on now for 2 years. 2 years, I have been deprived of my Second Amendment rights because of a government permission slip. The government permission slip that none of us have to get, because we were given our rights by God. We have a God-given right to defend ourselves, to protect ourselves. We also had that enshrined in our Second Amendment rights. And the state of Michigan even codified it even before Michigan was a state. Did you know that Michigan was not a state until 1837? It was a territory in 1803. That was way before we codified the Second Amendment. So every law that is on the books right now in the state of Michigan that has to do with gun control doesn't have any bearing according to the Bruin decision. It goes back to the text and the historical tradition of firearm regulation. So if Michigan wasn't even a state, and it was part of Canada. As a matter of fact, if you look at the history of the state of Michigan, we had 3 parliamentarians that were part of the government in Canada. We were still under British rule in 1791. Now, according to the Bruin decision, the founding era of firearm regulation was between 1750 and 1791. If Michigan to become a territory until 1803, when we had our first constitution written where it guaranteed that we had the right to keep and bear arms in this state for our own personal protection and that of the state. And then later on in 1837, when it did become a state, it was enshrined in that Constitution. You mind telling me how we have any gun control laws on the books in the state of Michigan that's considered a modern gun control law? How is it enforceable? Since 1927, after the Dr. Ossian Sweet incident that happened in Detroit, where attorney Clarence Darrow, yes, Clarence Darrow defended Dr. Ossian Sweet and his family from a judge, a racist judge that was in the city of Detroit, which we all are familiar with in Wayne County. It's a Frank Murphy Hall of Justice. Well, Judge Frank Murphy was one of the wizards of the Ku Klux Klan. At that time, in 1920s Detroit, pretty much every police officer that worked on the city of Detroit Police Department was also a member of the Ku Klux Klan. And it was a very racist city. And our roots for our Second Amendment fight actually come from the racism that was done here in the state of Michigan with the unconstitutional black codes and Jim Crow laws that were put on the books when white slave owners came here up to Michigan and operated a lot of these factories that came into being. That's where our Second Amendment fight comes from. Every one of these laws...
All right, people, my battery's about to die. I just thought I'd share all this with all of you. But we do have to pick up our numbers. We got to start carrying it. We got to start standing up for our Second Amendment. It's going to take more than just the few of us that are here today. It's going to take all of us. All of you watching, all of you who care about freedom, all of you who care about your family's protection and safety, all of you who care about the government's overreach that we've all seen take place over the years. It's not going to get any better. But this is a crazy heathen saying thank you all for tuning in and watching this, and we got to make change, and change comes from us. That's the only way we're ever going to make true change, is by looking inside, deep inside of our hearts, and truly figuring out what's important and standing up for it and fighting for it, because we only keep what we are willing to fight for, people. It's truly that simple. So I think I'm going to end this video here shortly. I guess I can just let my battery run out and go from there. But yeah, 2A rally, Hillsdale County, Michigan. We got to pick this up, people. We got to get more active, especially all my people here in Michigan. What happened? What happened, Michigan? We used to have such a large presence at these 2A rallies, but not anymore. But I want to see, I'd like to see other states hold 2A rallies and, stand up for their Second Amendment rights. Get active, people, because that is the only way you're going to preserve any of your rights, is by being active. Because if you are expecting somebody else to save your rights or protect your rights for you, then to me, you're part of the problem, because we all have a role to play. We all have something that we should be fighting for. We all have something that we care about. We all have people we love. And the only way to do that is to stand up and fight and protect what we already have. Because if we lose any more of our Second Amendment, everything else is going to dwindle away as well. It's truly that simple, whether you believe me or not. But the more infringements we have on the Second Amendment, the less power we hold. And the power belongs to we the people. The government works for us, not the other way around. And somewhere along the lines, that's got all crossed. And people put way too much faith in the government to have their best interest in mind, when that's probably the farthest from the truth. So I hope you will protect yourself. I hope everybody will take personal responsibility to protect themselves, because that's what the Second Amendment's for, people. That's what it's for. I didn't get a chance to read any of these comments, so maybe I'll just go through here. And Oh, there's a lot. I'm not even gonna try to deal with all that. But if you haven't subbed to my channel, please do so, because YouTube loves to keep taking my subs away. I had over 10,000 subs just a few months ago, and now I'm just over 3,500. I'm actually out here, people. I've actually been out here for 10 years fighting for our Second Amendment with other like-minded people. But it takes more than a few of us. But you know what? The few of us that are out here doing it, we're dedicated, and our hearts are pure. And at least we know we are doing all we can to preserve what we have left. And I guess that's what continues to make me do what I do, because I truly have passion about this. I truly care, because I know the consequences. You look at all these other countries who have banned firearms, and you can see the genocide and the chaos that takes place. I mean, do we want to become like Australia or Canada for that matter? No, not at all. But we are headed that way. Our freedoms are diminishing daily because people fail to speak up. People fail to voice their grievances. People fail to show up to rallies. And I guess that's where we're at today, people.
Very knowledgeable man.
Thank you. First off, I'll try to keep this close enough. First off, I'd like to thank Darren and Joe.
All right, people. Well, I think this is getting ready to wrap up. I guess I'll give this till my phone dies. But thank you all for tuning in. And if you haven't subbed, please consider subbing to the channel.
Not only being amongst us, but also speaking for us. That takes a lot of intestinal fortitude for somebody who works in Lansing. I want you to really wrap your head around what Mr. DeSanta has done. And also give him a round of applause and thank him, please. And obviously also Mr. Hudson Lowe running for governor. You know, it's all about votes when you're running for office. Let's face it.
We're going to say goodbye to Anthony here, and we're probably going to get out of here for today.
So, with that, first off, we're kind of freewheeling. I had a great...
Good to meet you, Eddie.
Sir. Yeah, I was on your live last night, but you ended it up pretty...
Dude, my live cut out, man.
I got to use the avatar because, you know, I was in office, and if I run for office again, then they can come back and say, well, this was you online. And I can say, no, it's John Q.
Right. Gotcha, buddy. Gotcha. Well, all right, people. Turn us.
Like I tell them, not every film is a bad person.
No, absolutely.
Or gets convicted of it.
It's because they're afraid of what's going to happen to them.
They take our weapons away from us.
That's what they want. Absolutely.
For a little safety, are worthy of
For all you guys out there who say you're too afraid to do this, I mean, look at this. I mean, come on now.
I'm a woman.
Thank you, Jessica.
More women's got more balls than men nowadays.
Absolutely. You know, I hate to agree with that, but I do agree with you on that.
Sad.
It's very sad. Well, it's been a good day, people. The only thing I'm sad about is the turnout. There was not enough people here today. But you know what? The ones who are here are committed. At least that shows me that people still give a shit. People are still willing to stand up. And people are still willing to support the militia. Especially Anthony Hudson, who is running for governor here in Michigan. I had a personal conversation with him, and he fully supports the militia. And that means a lot to me. So, but I think we're getting ready to wrap this up, so guess I'll end this real quick. But yeah, this crazy heathen saying, stand up and fight for what you believe in, people.
So, I'm all about motivation. I tell people all the time, when somebody's trying to tell you something, you have to ask yourself the question, why? What is their motivation? No one, I repeat, no one does anything without a reason. Why are they coming after our guns? Well, what does the Second Amendment say? In order for us to be a free country, right? I'm going to paraphrase, obviously. Then it is necessary for us to have a militia. Therefore, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So if they want to take control of this country, if they want to make this country something other than a constitutional republic, they have to do away with two things. They have to do away with, obviously, the Constitution. Without the Constitution, you can't have a constitutional republic. And the only way that they can do away with the Constitution, and, oh, by the way, why are we a free country? We were a free country because a handful of men and women were willing to stand up against the most, somebody said it earlier, the most powerful army in the world at the time, right? So that is why they want two things they want. Make no mistake, there's a lot of great information that was spread here today, but two things I want you to remember, right? They want two things. What's their motivation? They want control of us and this country, and there's only, well, three things. Us, we're standing in the way. Two, the Constitution. And three, the right to keep and bear arms. Now, I would like to kind of give us all an assignment, if you will, to walk away from here. So last year, those of us who were here, there was far more people here last year. I don't know if I'd say far more, but there were more people here. Okay?
We're getting towards the end of it.
So, one of the things that we need to do is we need to make sure that when we come here next year, and Joe and Darren, we'll do this next year, right? Yep. Absolutely. Okay? When we come here next year, bring somebody. Bring two people.
It's about numbers.
It's all about numbers, right?
It's about
and part
numbers.
of the reason that people are afraid to come out here is because they think we are a small group. But you think about the number of Americans who actually own firearms, our numbers are pretty large.
97 million.
97 million? Is that okay? I'll take this man's word for it. I do know that as a country, as just citizens, we have more weaponry than many nations.
That's only the legal law.
Well, there you go. That's only the legal
Some
law.
people ain't recorded.
So, now, the second thing too, this is sort of like voting. Think about this. Yes, next year we need to bring somebody with us. And I talked to plenty of people this year, and I don't see any of them here, so I guess I didn't do a very good job. But next year, hopefully I'll do better. I forgot where I was going to go with that now. Anyway, so, the other thing I was going to say is, yeah, not only do we need to bring somebody next year, this is like voting. This can't be a once every 4 years thing. This can't be a once a year thing. We need to be talking about and exercising our rights as often as possible, preferably daily, but nonetheless. The only way this becomes a bigger movement and people become more comfortable with what it is that we are doing is if they understand we are them, they are us, we're all into the same thing, right? Our liberties, our freedom, and oh, by the way, keeping the government out of our pocket. So again, I would like to thank not only those running for office, but Mr. DeSantis and those who had the courage to come out and be with us today, and hopefully we'll have more next year. Thank you for your time. And everybody have a great day.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that caps up what we got. Oh, John, you had a part 2 to your speech, Rutan? Okay. Take your time. So yeah, like Steve said, next year I'm not stopping this. I'm going to continue to put my boots on the ground because I am a man of my words. And if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And so next year, there will be a rally in Hillsdale County for sure. I encourage anybody else that's outside this county to host one in your county. Guess who's going to be there? Me.
And me.
Because I don't go to concerts. I don't go to football games. I don't participate in the bread and circus.
There it is.
I stand up for my rights and everybody's rights. That's where my heart is. That's where my interest is. And in order to get me to shut up, you're going to have to kill me. So, with that being said, let's introduce my brother John. He's got another speech to do.
Whoa.
Now, a lot of this stuff that I'm going to be talking about, if you go to YouTube and put in Hillsdale Liberty Hall, that's my channel.
Crazy
You'll
Heathen on
find our
YouTube.
28
Phil Robinson.
section introduction to the Constitution is on there. I've got 4 letters on there entitled Letters to the Swamp that I wrote to John Roberts. So there's a couple of those on there. There's also history on there on the militia, and this is one that I did the other day. I had somebody that I was talking to, and they said, well, the militia guys, they just want violence. That's what it's all about, violence. And I said, no, it's not. There is a moral component to it. And so I started to study and put together something that is rebellion versus righteous resistance, the lawful role of the lesser magistrate in defending liberty. Now, how many people have heard the doctrine of the lesser magistrate? Anybody? This is a doctrine that should be taught in our schools, but it's not, because it doesn't turn them into brain-dead zombies. They would start thinking for themselves. The crisis of authority and the need for discernment. Throughout history, societies have faced a fundamental question. When does resistance to government cross the line from rebellion into righteous defense? In our time, with growing distrust of federal institutions and increasing conflict between state and national authorities, the American people must once again confront this question. As tensions rise, it becomes vital to distinguish between lawless insurrection and principled lawful resistance grounded in moral and constitutional authority. Without clear distinctions and a firm foundation, resistance risks becoming chaotic and counterproductive rather than just transformative. All law comes from God, the first principle of liberty. The foundation of any lawful resistance begins not with man, but with God. As declared by the Reformers, all legitimate civil authority is a stewardship under divine authority. Romans 13, 1 through 4 commands that there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. Yet this is not an endorsement of tyranny. Paul describes a ruler as, quote, God's servant for your good, end quote, and a minister of justice. When civil authorities defy God's moral law and persecute the righteous, they cease to be legitimate ministers of God. This principle was a cornerstone of the religious Reformation and led to the development of the doctrine of lawful resistance. The early reformers emphasized that law is not the arbitrary command of the sovereign, but must conform to God's eternal law. Tyranny, therefore, is not true authority. It is rebellion against the very source of law and justice. The doctrine of lesser magistrate and the 4 degrees of tyranny. One of the most enduring contributions of the Reformation to political thought is the doctrine of the lesser magistrate, clearly articulated in the 1550 Magdeburg Confession. When Emperor Charles V sought to impose Roman Catholicism by force upon Lutheran cities, the magistrates of Magdeburg declared that they would resist in order to protect their people. They argued that lower magistrates not only may, but must resist higher authorities when those authorities command what God forbids, or forbid what God commands. The Magdeburg Confession outlines 4 levels of tyranny and the appropriate responses. Number 1, minor injustice. A minor injustice is to be endured patiently, as Scripture instructs believers to be long-suffering and peaceful. Greater injustice is to be protested openly through legal and civic mechanisms. Severe persecution is to be passively resisted, such as through non-compliance, civil disobedience, and interposition. Active destruction of faith and law, to be resisted with force, but only with proportional and necessary means, and only under the leadership of lawful lesser magistrates. This doctrine reinforces that resistance must be moral, lawful, and proportional. It prevents vigilante violence and guards against the spiral into lawless rebellion. It also defines the role of the civil servant as a guardian of justice rather than a servant of tyranny. The Declaration of Independence and the biblical threshold for resistance. The American Declaration of Independence reflects the wisdom of the Magdeburg Confession and the theology of the Reformation. Jefferson writes that governments derive, quote, their just powers from the consent of the governed. And that when government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. But this right is not to be exercised rashly. The Declaration states that, quote, prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, end quote. And that, quote, mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed, end quote. Only when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism does the duty to resist and establish new government arise. This careful threshold mirrors the Confession's 4 levels of tyranny. The founders did not rebel on a whim. They followed a moral, historical, and constitutional process grounded in natural law. Historical failures, secular rebellion versus righteous resistance. Not all revolutions are created equal. The American Revolution succeeded because it was rooted in a moral framework that recognized the supremacy of God and the rule of law. It was led by lesser magistrates, colonial legislatures, and county sheriffs who lawfully interposed for the defense of their people. In contrast, the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution, and the pirate societies of the early modern era rejected divine authority and embraced secular ideologies driven by envy, materialism, and the lust for power. These movements descended into bloodshed, totalitarianism, and civil collapse because they lacked moral legitimacy. Vindicia contra tyrannus and lex rex, the intellectual roots of lawful resistance. The 1597 Vindicia contra tyrannus posed 4 vital questions. 1. Must the people obey a king who commands what is contrary to God? 2. May they resist him? 3. May they resist by force? And 4. May lesser magistrates lead such resistance? The answers given are clear. Yes, if the king violates God's law, he forfeits his authority. The people may resist, but not lawlessly. They must act under the leadership of lawful magistrates. This view would later inspire resistance to tyrants in both England and America. Samuel Rutherford's 1644 treatise Lex Rex advanced this idea further. The law is king, not the king above the law. Civil rulers are subject to God's moral law, and when they act unlawfully, resistance is both justified and required. This view laid the foundation for constitutional government, where power is restrained and accountable. The force continuum and the Washington Standard. These principles shaped America's understanding of justice. Law enforcement today is trained to apply force proportionally. Officers are taught to use verbal commands, then non-lethal force, and only escalate to deadly force when absolutely necessary. This reflects the biblical ethic of measured resistance. General George Washington understood this during the War of Independence. He strictly forbade his soldiers from looting, swearing, or abusing civilians. They were to conduct themselves with Christian virtue, modeling justice rather than chaos. Washington's order was not merely strategic, it was moral. His army would resist tyranny without becoming tyrants themselves. The sheriff and the militia, Federalist 46 in action. In modern America, the county sheriff is the embodiment of the lesser magistrate. Elected by the people and sworn to uphold the Constitution, the sheriff has both the authority and the duty to interpose against unlawful federal mandates. He can refuse cooperation with unconstitutional orders, protect citizens from federal overreach, and even summon the militia of the county, which in founding era terms included every able-bodied citizen. In Federalist 46, James Madison emphasized that the states and the people, through their local institutions and militias, could provide an effective resistance to federal usurpation. He envisioned a citizenry armed, informed, and loyal to their state government. The sheriff is the linchpin of this vision. He is the lawful guardian of liberty at the local level. Conclusion. Resistance rooted in law, morality, and duty. Rebellion seeks power. Righteous resistance seeks justice. Our founders, guided by centuries of theological and legal reflection, gave us a framework for resisting tyranny lawfully, proportionally, and morally. That duty now falls on us. The key is understanding the difference between lawless rebellion and righteous interposition. The sheriff, supported by a faithful citizenry and trained militia, can stand as the lesser magistrate our times demand. He is not merely a peace officer, he is the rightful guardian of the people and the lawful bulwark against tyranny.
That's why it's so important to have a good sheriff, people. A constitutional sheriff. It is most important you can have is a good stand-up sheriff.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Darley, for being my sheriff.
Okay. All right. Just real quick. I know some people are heading out. That's fine. I just wanted to thank McCombs Street Eats for coming out and helping support this event. We love you. She's local here in Hillsdale, and
Absolutely.
good people, good food. The other vendor that showed up, I didn't catch her name, but I appreciate you coming out as well. Obviously, Anthony Hudson, you got my vote, brother. I'm not into politics,
So
but
don't
I'm
play
in for
politics with
standing
us.
for what's right. So you got my vote, and next year is going to be, you're running in 26. So we'll do this rally again next year, and with a little bit more advertisement, because I don't have much of a following, and like you said, next time we come here, tell somebody, tell two people, have them people tell somebody, and we got a couple free giveaways.
Much this time, guys.
John Rutan has some T-shirts and some flags. If you're interested, we can rock paper scissors for it.
This is
Oh, that's bad. That's all. I need that one.
That's a Union Jack.
I don't have that one.
This one was a hard one to get a hold
Oh,
of.
I don't. That's
Anthony
one
giving out a
flag
couple
I
free
don't
hats
have.
as well.
Oh, that is awesome.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, look at that.
That's a new flag. Don't tread on me.
Yep.
Don't step on Sneak. Awesome. You gonna sign them?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And then there's, we got two of these.
I'm gonna flip this camera around. Sorry, bud. There we go. Anthony Hudson for governor. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. We'll hand them out. I gotta keep one for myself. I am also a truck driver. I go to Detroit every day, so I'll be wearing it around Detroit. And if they ask about it, I'll let them know.
There's a few people wearing them in Detroit.
Good.
Sure.
Well, add one more.
Give these three out and then come see me and I'll give you one.
Okay, appreciate you. All right.
I don't care how you give them away, give them away.
Well, Darren, I claim that one, man. I don't have that one. This one.
What about this here?
Anthony
I
Hudson
thought
hat.
somebody might like this.
Verify.
I like my guns like my
It's
president.
from the last administration
Right on.
when he was 45.
Yeah, that was weird. Had to verify my live.
Oh, yeah, mine's been kind of doing.
Swipe a picture to verify your audio.
Oh,
Yeah, anyway, so. Alright, I guess I'll be handing these out. If you want free dibs, come up and grab something. The shirt one?
thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man. Much love and respect, brother. Oh, you know it, man. You know it. You know I'll never quit fighting, just like Darren here.
No.
I hope I inspired you, Darren. I hope I am the cause of all
Watch
this.
the YouTube channel.
You
Came
know?
across Crazy Heathen on YouTube. This is Crazy Heathen Phil Robinson back in 2020.
And like I said, I've been doing this since 2015.
Yep.
And it's guys like Darren right now that's got me still motivated out here doing this.
Yep. And I'm
So-
hoping to motivate people younger.
And we're going to keep motivating people,
Absolutely,
brother. That's what we're going to continue to keep doing. Hey, man, it's good meeting you today, brother.
Yeah, be in
I look,
touch.
oh, absolutely, man. I got your card, and we'll be in touch. I'll have to hit you guys all up.
I got all types of paperwork for free. That's all I've been doing. It goes down, son.
Right on,
I
man.
love it. I'd get off.
And you're
on
from
quick.
Genesee County.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys out there, so.
Land of the tyrants.
Yep,
Literally.
I've heard that. Did you know Matt Crow, who was running for sheriff out there? Oh, he was running a few years ago, but then he got all wrapped up in that J6 bullshit. He just got pardoned, so. To me, that's the only good thing Trump has done is pardon all the J6ers.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure. I should have never went in.
no.
About my run-ins with Whitmer's office, and it's already over 10,000 views. Oh, wow. That was 24 hours ago.
Right.
So we'll blast it on social media, and we'll see if we can get more people from Hillsdale out there. Okay. And I mean, I told 2 people, and they came.
Yep.
These 2.
Well, all I know is I might be having one in Hastings before long, because it doesn't think there's going to be one in Lansing. So maybe end of August. Maybe end of August, I'll throw one in Hastings. We'll do a 2A rally in Hastings. Anthony, thank you.
We're gonna do a picture with all the guys and gals with long.
All right.
Picture with Mr. Hudson. Let him stand on the podium and we'll be all on the ground. I'd rather have militia look at you guys closer than myself.
Where's the other phone? We trying to broadcast this? Oh, okay.
It's live right now.
All right.
The picture? I'm sorry, we want to do it over here on the steps, okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Last
That's
year
better.
we did it in front of the barrel. Because of construction here last year, couldn't do it on the steps. So yeah, I'll be over there in a sec.
Oh, you didn't know I knew that. Is that American flag? I think the list was 150 horses a little better, but that's good.
All right, hold on. Turn this one back on.
Dividing this, or you want us on one side?
Turn this one back on. Fine, get it.
Hit it.
Once it says it, down there? Okay.
Yep, go live. No, go down.
Beautiful.
Darren, you're 12. So you
Look how he says that. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful.
bow down again like last year.
Hey. I don't care about Lance.
Gotta take another one. Everybody put up their Anthony Hudson hats.
If you got him.
Next Michigan.
Amen.
Now, this is my personal photographer. She charges $100 per hour, and I'm broke as fuck.
I was washing dishes.
You're mowing the grass tomorrow, please. You good? Or you can take
One more. We're going 200.
like if you watch me work.
All right.
I think, is this your phone or is this his?
No, that's somebody else's.
I got it. Oh, yeah. I knew it was someone's. I'm like,
All right, people, we're ending this today. Show your support for your Second Amendment.